Back in the summer of 2021, Hypixel Skyblock released the 0.11.5 update, adding the Enderman Slayer boss to the game. This was a big deal at the time because the previous hardest boss was the Tier 4 Sven Packmaster, which really didn't pose much of a challenge to most players. The Voidgloom Seraph was a huge jump from Sven's and was by far the most difficult individual challenge in the game at the time, introducing mechanical skill and health management to Slayers. With over 300 million health and dealing 21,000 damage per second, the Tier 4 variant of this boss ate the ass of so many players on release.
That thing is insane, oh my god.
The admins heavily nerfed the boss and buffed the armor made for the Slayer. And 2 years later, this Slayer boss is now kind of a joke compared to what it once was. Players have been able to get 30 to 40 second boss times just using a Hyperion and a mage setup, and a bug regarding Crimson Armor allowed anyone to one-tap the boss with ease. The admins patched this bug a while back, but this boss is still nowhere near what it used to be. Anyone with proper gear can get good boss times. Anyone except me. In the last video I made, I showcased my new fancy armor and equipment I spent billions of coins on just for Slayers. And in that video, I get some atrocious boss times for Enderman. Completely unacceptable for someone with my gear. What people don't know is that I have been cooking, both literally and figuratively. You see, I was well on my way to hitting Enderman Slayer 9, the highest Slayer level when the Souls Rebound one-tap technique was still relevant. Now the reason I want to hit Enderman 9 is because it gives Skyblock XP. And currently, I'm in a race with my own viewers. Right now, I'm Skyblock level 293, and if I hit Skyblock level 320, then I win. However, if my viewers are able to get me to 30,000 subscribers before that, then I lose. And if I lose, I have to do dares submitted by you guys on my Discord server. Now, some of these dares are incredibly brutal, and I definitely do not want to do them, so I cannot bear to lose this race. I even dropped 2 Judgement Cores, and if you don't play Skyblock, let's just say the Judgement Core is something we in the Skyblock community consider as big money. When the admins patched Souls Rebound, I was still about 400,000 XP away from Enderman 9, which is about 800 bosses. At my pace at the time, it would take me an estimated 25 more hours, which doesn't sound too bad in the grand scheme of Skyblock, but it didn't feel right getting 60-second bosses when I knew there were countless ways to make this grind more efficient. I had seen this video of this random guy on YouTube getting a 14-second tier 4 kill, somehow one-tapping the boss without the use of Souls Rebound. I just want to say that I've watched this video probably about 50 times, and I cannot recreate this. My gear was significantly better than the guy in the video, and I tried to match everything I could to be exactly identical to his, and for some reason I couldn't even get close to one-tapping. While doing this, I met Wakesys in an end lobby, who was also curious about how to recreate this strange tactic, so I recruited them and we cooked together, researching and experimenting to see just how this all works. And we came to some conclusions. Our first conclusion was that the guy in the video was very likely cheating and using an auto-clicker to click 100 CPS. I even sent the clip to one of my Slayer goons, who was able to confirm our suspicions. But that didn't mean that hope was lost, because we found out that this could actually be recreated legitimately. The very core of this new tech was a combination of the Venomous enchant with the Dominus swipe ability from the Crimson Armor. During the laser phase, you have to build up as much damage as possible, and when the boss exits the laser phase, all of the damage built up results in a Crimson Swipe and Venomous tick, which adds up to a massive amount of damage in a single hit. Our issue though, was trying to do 150 million damage in that single hit. The most I ever did was about 90 million, and that was a one-time peak. How were we going to essentially double our damage when we were still so far off? And that's where our other conclusions came in. Wakesys found that using Twilight Arrow Poison made a significant impact on damage, as the arrow poison makes targets take 1.1 times more damage. When damage per hit is in the millions, that 10% buff is huge. And since we were using the Terminator bow for the hit phase of the boss, it meant that using this arrow poison made no changes to our gameplay. And keeping the Crimson Armor's Dominus ability was also absolutely required in order to make this work. So I started keeping Ender Pearls in my hotbar so I could spawn an Enderman at any time and kill it to keep my stacks. Now one thing I really didn't want to do was apply tier 7 enchants to my katana, but I figured I was going to be doing a lot more bosses until Enderman 9, and it would be worth it if I could more consistently one-tap. And so there goes like 300 million coins. It wasn't worth it. 3 tier 7 enchants later and I'm dealing 100,000 more per hit. The final piece of the puzzle was the implementation of the Ragnarok Axe. The Ragnarok Axe is one of, if not the best damage boosting item in the entire game, applying the strength of the weapon to your character for 3 seconds. The downside is that it takes 3 seconds to cast, and if you are hit at all during that duration, the cast is cancelled. This meant I had to somehow survive 3 seconds without being hit once by a boss that can literally teleport. I talked to one of my guild members, Kato, who was able to demonstrate how he's been able to implement the Ragnarok Axe into his bosses. And with that, the mystery was complete. More than a month of research and experimentation and hours spent stalking random profiles all seemed worth it in that moment when I felt the joy of that one tap finally going through. I had spent so much time on this that along the way, I actually kinda got good at Enderman Slayer. Even without the one tap, my boss times have basically been halved, as I can now do bosses at double the efficiency I used to do them. And with one tap, a sub 20 boss is so free, which meant that all this cooking with Wakesys and Kato resulted in me tripling the speed in which I could complete a tier 4 boss. Now obviously the pro of this method is incredibly efficient Voidgloom bosses, but the con of it is that you lose out on magic find. The old one tap method allowed me to rod swap to a Minos Relic Golden Dragon while holding a Chimera 5 Daedalus Axe, allowing me to maximize my magic find. With this new Venomous strat, it's very difficult to reliably one-tap while holding a Daedalus, so the most magic find I've been able to get is about 200, which isn't great, but it's definitely a price I'm willing to pay. Now, a tier 4 takes me about 30 to 40 seconds total, including the time to spawn. That's roughly 10 to 20 seconds to spawn and 20 seconds to kill the boss. That 400,000 XP that would have taken me about 25 hours will now take me less than 9 hours. So I don't usually like leaking strats just out of respect for the people that discover them, but over the last few days I've seen multiple guides and tutorials on YouTube with people teaching others the exact details of how to recreate this strat. So the damage is already done, this method that is already going to be public, and it's definitely going to be even more well known in the next coming days. So I thought if I'm going to be making a video on it, I might as well include a little tutorial on how to do it. So the first step that I do when the boss spawns is use my Terminator, and I do have Twilight Arrow Poison in my inventory, and I just activate the Atom Split Katana's ability for the ferocity, and then I get the hit face down, and as soon as that happens, I equip my Ragax and I run. Okay, and you cannot stop running, because if you stop running for a second, the boss is going to TP to you and kill you. And then right after that, you throw an Ender Pearl to maintain your stack, and then you hit it until 2 seconds, you stop at 2 seconds, and then there we go. Okay, so we're here in replay mode right now just because I think it will be easier to explain if I can pause and unpause and control the pacing of the boss fight. So the first step I do here is, when I spawn it, is I activate the ability, the Atom Split Katana ability, because that gives me ferocity, and then I use my Terminator to do the hit phase. Terminator with explosive arrows, which shreds through the hit phase so quickly. And I'm just jumping up in the air so I don't get hit with my own explosive arrows. And then as soon as this happens, as you can see, the boss is now out of the hit phase. As soon as this happens, I activate my Ragax right here, and then I run. Okay, I am running away, because if I stand still, then the boss is going to catch up to me, and it's going to hit me, and it's going to cancel my Ragax. So just run, and don't stop running, because as soon as you stop running, it's going to TP to you. So you can see here I'm running, and then the boss TPs to me right around here. But as you can see, I am moving too fast for it to hit me. So it does not hit me, and my Ragax, as you can hear the Ragax sound effect. And then right after that, I start hitting the boss, and I do not activate the Katana ability because I currently have a Ragnarok Axe ability buff, which is going to increase my damage by a lot. To activate the Atom Split Katana's ability, it's going to give me way too much damage, and I'm going to accidentally face skip. And you don't want to face skip, because if you face skip, the one tap's not going to work. The boss cannot be in its laser phase and hit phase at the same time. I intentionally do not activate the Atom Split Katana's ability, and I get its health down right here to around 180 or so, and then I throw a pearl. Where you can see here, I throw a pearl, and then I wither impact. Okay, and the reason I do this is because the wither impact kills the Enderman, which maintains my dominance, but it also gives me the wither shield at the same time. And then right after that, I switch on my Warden Helm here, and then that's when I activate the Atom Split Katana's ability, because this is when my damage matters. And then I start, hitting the boss. As you can see here, my damage is pretty high, 4.4, 4.5. If you're mechanically doing everything correct, but you're still struggling to recreate this one tap, it might just be because your damage is too low. I'm using 1-piece Infernal and 2-piece Fiery Crimson, so along with the Strong Reforge and an Ender Dragon. So my gear is pretty good. But if you're not getting very high damage, it might just be an issue with your gear. As you can see, the boss is not in its. I did not phase skip intentionally. You can see the boss is still in its health phase, not in its hit phase. And I stack up my damage here, and then at around 2 seconds, I stop hitting. And this is when I use the opportunity to use my rod to rod swap to a Golden Dragon for Magic Find. You don't have to rod swap if you don't have a Magic Find pet. And then I hold my katana again. It's very important that you hold your katana. You can hold a Daedalus Axe, but it will kill your damage by a lot, and then you risk the one tap not working. So for, just to be consistent, I hold my Atom Split Katana in my hand, and then there you go. You can see here the Venomous hits for 33 million damage, and then the Dominus swipe, which is the majority of damage, hits for 139, and that combined is able to one tap the boss just like that, and then I collect my loot. And that's how you do the Enderman one tap. And the only thing left to do now is hit Enderman 9. I just did the math, and dropping a Judgement Core with my current Magic Find and RNG meter progress is about 1 in 333. So hopefully I'm able to drop a core in these next couple hundred bosses. Statistically, it's supposed to be pretty probable. But statistically, I'm also supposed to be a crazy ladies man, and I'm here playing Minecraft, so... Okay, so I kind of have to be quiet right now because it is kind of in the middle of the night, but I just dropped a Judgement Core at 913k XP, and I remember when I was at like 870k, I was like, statistically I should drop a Judgement Core before I hit E-Man 9 with my current RNG meter and Magic Find, and I ended up dropping the Judgement Core tonight. I was gonna clip it, and I mean, I thought I did clip it, but as you can see, this is the footage. It's just a black screen. I don't know what happened to my clipping software, but it did not clip. It just did not clip, which sucks. But here's the proof. Okay, the Judgement Core. I have it in my inventory. But yeah, that's my third core now on my way to E-Man 9. Maybe we can drop a fourth in the 85k XP that I have left. It's probably not probable, but it is possible. I guess we'll see. And I collect my free 300 mil. Let's go. We are less than 25k XP away from Enderman Slayer 9. So tonight is definitely the night that we hit it. And you already know I got the Ladybug and Cat Noir movie playing on the second monitor. Okay, so I just learned something new, and I cannot believe I did not test this in over 400,000 XP. But I have a Dark Claymore with Chimera 5 on it. That's been sitting in my backpack for the last 6 months because I haven't been playing dungeons. And I think I finally have a use for this thing because it has Chimera 5 on it, which means that it gives me Magic Find, and it does a lot more damage than a Daedalus axe. Swapped up the Claymore. There we go. Look at that. 228 Magic Find. Okay, I am now on my final boss. 375 XP away. Let's go! Enderman Slayer 9. Isn't Aatrox the next mayor? Does he have his XP buff? Oh, he does. Wait. Oh no. No.